Hello dear students, today I am going to give you a summary of the poem A Photograph by Shirley Tolson. Now this particular poem, A Photograph, is a nostalgic poem where the poet laments for her bygone days. From the poem's title only you can understand it is about a photograph of a mother going on a sea holiday with her two girl cousins, Betty and Dolly. As the poem begins, we can see that the poet begins by describing the photograph. She says, "The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins were paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands." So right in the beginning, the poet goes on to describe the cardboard. Here the cardboard refers to the frame of the cardboard or the cardboard on which the photograph was pasted. And she says that the cardboard shows how the girl cousins went paddling. Paddling means walking on the shallow waters of the beach. So she says that the cardboard or the picture shows how it was when the two girl cousins had gone along with the poetess mother and they had gone to enjoy a holiday on the sea beach. Here the cardboard shows me is also an example of personification. What is personification? A literary device where inanimate object or abstract ideas are given lifelike qualities. Each one holding one of my mother's hands. So both the girl cousins, they were holding the hand of the poet's mother. Why? Because she was the eldest of the three. And she being the big girl, some 12 years or so. So here 12 years refers to the age of the poet's mother. So she was the big girl, she was the eldest of the three girls. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. So all the three girls were enjoying their sea holiday and they stood still and pushed their hair to smile at the camera. Their uncle was going to click the photograph. So all the three looked at the camera with a smile on their face. Stood still to smile is also an example of alliteration. Alliteration is a literary device where consonantal sounds are repeated in a sentence. So the repetition of consonantal sound in a particular phrase or a sentence is called alliteration. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. So the poet, laments by looking at the photograph. Why? Because she feels her mother's face then looked very sweet. So she had a sweet face and the photograph was clicked much before she was born. My mother's, that was before I was born. And the sea, which appeared to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. So the poem here is a comparison between the immortal nature and the transient or the temporary human being. So while man are mortal, nature is immortal. So the poet says that the sea seems to have changed less, but it has washed away the terribly transient feet of her mother. Transient means temporary. So the footprints of her mother which were there on the beach of the sea, so that has been washed away by the waves of the sea. But the sea seemed to have changed less. Now the sea appears to have changed less is again an example of personification. And washed their terribly transient feet is an example of both alliteration and transferred epithet. Now you might ask, what is the meaning of transferred epithet? Transferred epithet is a figure of speech where an adjective is transferred from the noun or pronoun to which it actually belongs to another noun or pronoun. So here the mother herself was temporary, or human beings are temporary because they live for a short while. But nature is immortal and they continue to exist. Moreover, not only that the footprints of the mother has been washed away by the waves of the sea, but also the mother of the poet has been effaced from the world. She has lost her life and she no longer is living. Some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot and say, "See Betty and Dolly," she would say, "and look how they dressed for the beach." The poet feels that had her mother been alive, then some 20-30 years later, she would have laughed by looking at the snapshot and she would say that, "See how Betty and Dolly looked like and how they had dressed us for the holiday." Here Betty and Dolly are the two girl cousins who had gone on a sea holiday along with the poet's mother. But alas, that no longer is possible. Why? Because she has already left this world. So the poet says, "The sea holiday was her past and mine is her laughter." So as the sea holiday was a past event in the life of the mother, when she was small, she had gone to enjoy the sea holiday. In the same manner, the poet feels that the laughter of her mother has also become a past event in her life because she can no longer enjoy the laughter of her mother. She is no longer alive. And both are right, both are disappointed with the labored ease of loss. So it is really a sorrowful thing. The mother was sad because the sea holiday was her past, and the poet is sad because the weight of her mother's loss weighs heavily on her heart, and both are disappointed with the loss. Moreover, the mother's untimely death has left her with so many wishes remaining unfulfilled. And so it is very hard to remove all these pains from the heart of the poet. Though she is laboring hard, yet she is unable to overcome the loss. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. So the girl was 12 years old and the mother seems to have died 12 years ago. And of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. It's silences. Here this circumstance refers to the death of the poet's mother, and she has nothing much to say about it because the pain is so heavy that it has suppressed all other feelings in her heart. It has in fact silenced all other feelings. Now this silences is both an example of personification and alliteration. Prior to this, I have written, you can see labored ease of loss is an example of oxymoron. What is oxymoron? When two opposite words are placed together in a sentence for emphasis, then that is called oxymoron. Now let us move on to the word meanings. Now there are certain words which are important, which you should know. First of all, here cardboard stands for the stiff paper on which the photograph was pasted. Paddling means to walk often at the edge of a beach. Transient refers to temporary. Snapshot is an informal photograph. Wry means disappointed. Labored means needing a lot of effort. And circumstance here refers to the poet's mother's death. Thank you. That's all for today. Have a nice day.